What's going on, people? Welcome to the launch of FA Cup Unpacked. As we all know, the Premier League has been off for a week and the FA Cup has taken place. So I thought this would be the perfect time to launch FA Cup Unpacked. As you can see, we've got a star-studded panel. Let me introduce my guys first of all. So as we all know, my host, co-op, Bish, what you telling me, my bro? You good?
What's going on, bro? I'm feeling good. I'm glad to be back. Sorry to miss last week. Glad to know you guys was able to hold it down. But yeah, it was a blessing to be able to come back after this weekend's results. Really looking forward to seeing you. Really looking forward to seeing my guy Goons, Big Goon Ali. Love to see you, my bro. Love Patrick. Yeah, man. Glad to be back. Ready to go. Talk football.
Brilliant. And either on your right or my left, I don't know which one it is yet, but it's on my right. We've got a new recruit, a Manchester United fan, Bilal, aka DSG, in the cut. What you telling me, my bro? You good?
What's going on, bro? All good, man. All good.
Brilliant. And then we know
New to this.
Don't worry, bro. Just it's chalk and cheese. You get me, bro. You could just do your thing, bro. On this show, anything goes. Best believe that anything goes.
Yeah.
You get me. So you don't have to be restricted in what you're saying or anything. Just do as you please, bro. I'm telling you now. But obviously, we're gonna go light on you today because obviously this show could get a bit fiery, especially when you got Goon Ali in the cut. I'm telling you now for a fact, he's got United's tears, Tottenham's tears, everyone's tears. You get me?
In different bottles.
We got the man Goon Ali in the cut. What you telling me, bro? You good?
Can I hear you, look, properly? I can't. You don't hear me?
Yeah,
I can
hear you.
I can't really hear you, look, properly. I might have to come out and come back in the step one. Listen, man, I'm gonna keep this short and sweet. Big up my guy Premsy and big up my guy Bill out. Let's move, man. The rest of you, on the panel. I'm not too sure, man. I'm not
Yeah, boy, let's go.
Shots fired already.
Oh, I love it. Let's go. Set the tone, G.
Love to the man.
Say no more. And last but not least, we got the main man Patrick in the place. Chatty Patty, what you telling me, fam? You good?
What's good? Unlike Guna Lee, just jumped off. I show love to everyone, even the ops, because we're all boys outside of football, so it's all good.
doubt.
Bilal, nice to be on the stream with you. Good to have you on here. I'm sure you'll be good. If you're certified by Premsy, then you're certified, so it's all good. And obviously my boy Bish, as you know, you're my second team now. You get me? This, for the greater good. Glad you lot are doing your thing, and yeah, man, let's get into it, man. It's going to be a good one. Big up to Christopher as well. Yeah.
Oh, sorry,
yeah. Big up to everyone in the comments tuning in from all over. It's amazing that the show's now getting a massive reach and branching out. So yeah, man, good things, good vibes.
Yeah, you ain't gonna say thank you to this one here, Spursy in the mud, fam. I'm telling you now, bro. You gotta take a couple of them comments back. But look. There's no other place to start. Yeah, we're gonna touch on the FA Cup results now, and I know Bish has been dying for this. I know Bish has been dying. I know Patrick's been dying. But Arsenal have been knocked out the FA Cup to Man City. Bish, give me your thoughts on the game first of all, and what you think the result might be now that you're through to the next round.
Okay, do you want my level-headed analyst head or my fully biased City head?
Yo, blow it! I want the bias shit. I want the bias talk to me.
Yo, you know what? Yeah, sometimes the YG has to come up against the certified big boss Don that's been here and done that. Do you get me? Obviously, we fighting for trebles is what we do. We don't always achieve them, but we like to be in multiple competitions. For you, man, so good luck. Just focus on that one trophy. One thing at a time. So I think it was good for everyone involved, really. Do you know what I mean? Good for you guys to be able to focus on your dinner, and good for us to still be at the buffet. Do you know what I mean? But on a real, it was a very tight game. I think as an Arsenal fan, in terms of performance anyway, you're not going to take away too much disappointment from that game. It wasn't like City bulldozed them or anything like that. It was a tight game. It could have gone either way. But for City, it was a huge win for us. I think if we'd lost that, the knock-on effect for the confidence for this title race and try to chase you man down would have been huge. Not to say that winning it means we're going to be able to close that gap any easier, but it's one step in the right direction. And yeah, it is a lot of mind games at this point in the season. Do you know what I mean? Especially when both teams are performing at such a high level, Arsenal especially, mind games do come into play. So for City, it was important to get one over on you. And I thought we played well. I thought we just about edged it. Great goal by Ake. And yeah, man, just glad to be marching on into the next round. I know the FA Cup is usually you man's trophy, but you know, new seasons, new things, new ventures, I guess. So I don't know. What do you, man, think about the game? I got so hyped up in the start of that I kind of lost momentum as we went on.
I was about to say, yeah, fucking hell, I was expecting some bottle of tears to come out or something, bro.
Nah, we couldn't. I think if we'd done you in like differently, then obviously we could come on here and with a different level of chest. But yeah, I'm glad we won. Yeah, I'm glad that that I think we kind of just about edged the game, like I say. But it's not the day to come in here and be like, you know, getting too carried away and feeling like we bossed you or tossed you to the side. Like it was a tight game, and Arsenal still looked pretty solid and semi-threatening. You know, you didn't have loads of like clear cut out and out chances, but there were chances being created at both ends. So be interesting to see now in the 2 league meetings what Pep and Arteta have learnt from this. Arteta's obviously clearly a tactically intelligent manager, and I think he'll be taking stuff away from that game. Pep will be taking stuff away from that game, and they'll be feeling each other out before the 2 games in the league. So yeah, February 15th, round 2, I guess we'll go again.
We're gonna have to wait and see, mate. We're gonna have to wait and see. But Gunnar, we're gonna come to you now, yeah. So obviously, so you could give a little bit of a one response to the City, man. Obviously, I'm not going to lie. Personally, I thought Arteta was prioritising the Premier League with the starting lineup that he went with, knowing that we had 8 days before our next game. How do you make of it? Because the boys did us proud.
Yeah, look, I mean, I did the watch along on AFTV. You were at the game. Look, it was a very strange game, especially in the first half. I felt like there were times where like Man City were just keeping it at the back. They couldn't really progress the ball. It was more like a bit of a training ground game at times. Arsenal did the same thing. I mean, it was quite strange that, listen, Rob Holding, I wasn't happy with him starting, but in the whole, he actually marshaled Haaland quite well. I was actually quite surprised. You saw times when Haaland, especially on TV, he looked quite disengaged. He actually didn't look that threatening. That doesn't mean that he's not a great player. Listen, the guy scored 25 goals. He's absolutely elite. But listen, I thought we did all right. And ultimately, look, yeah, we can come out with the jokes about the YG and we're being schooled by the big boys. But ultimately, I think Arteta's kept his cards close to his chest. He didn't want to give too much away. And I think February the 15th, I think that we left a lot for us to kind of, you know, take and run. So, and in truth, I don't even want to discredit Man City. I think Man City did the same thing. I don't think Man City played anywhere near, not even the quality. I think you played all right, but I think the intensity, you didn't do much in the game to kind of show anything to Arteta and Arsenal. So I think it's going to be a great game. You won, you went through, and ultimately that's the end goal. I actually would have preferred to not have another game, just because if there was a replay, I don't know what anyone else thinks, obviously, because you guys are still in the competition. If you had had a replay, what you would have felt about that. But for me, look, there's no more games to be played in the FA Cup and the Carabao Cup, respectively. And listen, man, I'm very confident. I'm very confident about the February the 15th. I've said it from a month ago, man. Like the way we're playing, and I think what we're gonna do to you. Listen, you've obviously lost a certain left back as well, left back / right back, who isn't instrumental, but he's just another important cog in your team. So yeah, man, look, the chips seem to be falling for us and in the right place. And lastly, I was going to say, Partey, you can see what the level he is at. Like when you bring on the Congo, unfortunately, he played all right, but all right isn't good enough when you're playing against the world-class elite that Man City have. And yeah, I mean, listen, I have to take a bit of humble pie because we lost, and Man City and Tottenham and Man United are still in it. But listen, one of you are going to hold that L with me, so you're going to come and sit right next to me on that L bus. So let's go, man.
Let's go, man.
Not say no more. Chatty patty. Right. Do you think City have got the psychological edge over Arsenal now, or was you quite surprised how Arsenal held up away to Man City?
Because the game was like you lot have all said, it's almost exhibitionish, pre-seasonish. So it's a bit of a shame that you two, don't get me wrong, on paper it's a great game, but the fact that you guys have got each other so soon, and the fact that you're first and second in the league, it kind of took the impotence out of this game because both managers didn't want to show their hand, so to speak. So they kind of went in reserved. and it kind of took the glamour out of the tie, which would have been a great tie if it wasn't for the fact you guys have got each other coming up. You're first and second in the league, and you're both trying to suss each other out. So it's kind of like a sparring match, the early rounds of a fight. You're just both just like, feeling each other out and getting your range, and no one really went for it. So great finish by Ake, by the way. The accomplished finish into that far corner. That was a really good goal, especially from a centre back. But other than that, no one really learned anything from this game, apart from the fact that Arsenal are no pushovers and it's going to be a tough game. Because obviously City can kind of just, even in second gear, they can mess about and like look at the game against us. First half, obviously, they went 2-0 down. Second half come out, banged 4 goals. So the fact that Arsenal didn't falter or crumble, it's pretty much Arsenal probably go into the game. If I'm being honest, just 100% neutral, Arsenal go into this game with a bit of the psychological edge. First in the league, didn't get beat up like a lot of teams do when they play City, and arguably every person can say Arsenal held their own. There was no team that you could say battered the other team or was the much better team. Because even when when United played Arsenal, I saw Arsenal United fans, and I'm Bilal, you're not going to like me for this, but United fans are saying, "Oh yeah, but we only lost by a goal and this and that." But Arsenal absolutely battered you for the last 15. It wasn't like
Nah, it's true. It's true.
So, see, you're a real one, because a lot of United fans are trying to make it out like,
bro, the stats speak for themselves.
Yeah,
the stats don't lie. The stats don't lie at the end of the day.
You couldn't get out of your final third.
I was sat there like, what the fuck is going on? You couldn't string 3 passes together.
You couldn't get out. You couldn't get out, and that's
couldn't get out. They put the trap on.
Yeah,
they put the trap on. It literally felt like a game of FIFA where there's constant pressure, and they just couldn't get out. They could not get out. Could not get out of their own half.
At some point, the goal was going to come in.
Yeah, I knew it was coming.
Get out. Yeah. So
any one of them attacks, it was going to be.
So yeah, I think Arsenal held their own, man. Obviously, someone's got to go out. I agree with what Lee's saying as well. You don't need these replays, man. Just finish the game on the day. It's too much football.
I would have felt a lot more annoyed if we had the chance to go to extra time or just straight to penalties.
Yeah.
If that was the case, I would have been a lot more annoyed. Look, I'm annoyed because we went out, and ultimately, I don't want to lose any game, but
of course,
if we had to go out in those conditions, listen, man, I'd rather do that.
So, are you still sticking with this is the start of Arsenal's crumble, Patrick? Or...
Oh yeah.
don't pick up. I didn't see that one, fam.
That tweet rattled a lot of people, man.
This guy, bro. I don't. You know what? I actually don't even get why you got me next to him, bro. I swear down, I always get the short straw, bro. Every week, I'm next to this guy, bro.
You're like 25 stone, fam. You need a bit of space.
I don't care how much I weigh, bro. This guy, every week, I don't get why we're top of the team league, but I'm sat at the bottom row.
You know what?
Guy,
On a serious note, though, I don't think it will be the start of the unraveling for Arsenal, but I think, because of how close it is to when we play at the Emirates, if you were to even just lose or drop points in one league game before that game against us, and then lost at the Emirates, all of a sudden this little period can feel like a wobble. Do you know what I mean? When it's this tight and when the levels set this high, sometimes it only takes a 3 game across a 5 game window where you've lost one in one trophy and dropped a few points here. We kind of seen it with City before, where we're on for the quadruple, and then we get to like April and we have a little run where we get lost, lose and get knocked out of one cup, and then we drop some points in the league, and then we get knocked out of the Champions League, and all of a sudden in the space of 3 weeks the season looks totally different. I don't see that happening with Arsenal, but I think if you were to drop points a game before you play City and we keep 100% record, then if we go in and win at the Emirates, the feeling could start to shift a little bit from what it's been, which is just like, yo, when are Arsenal going to drop a point? Like, you man are moving we might break points tally records. Stuff how you've been moving.
I don't know what you guys think, but for me, I'm looking at it and I'm like, this could be a spooky season where Man City with 1 cup or no cups, nothing.
Yeah, 100%.
It could be no Prem
100%.
and no cups. The
100%.
Champions League isn't a given.
No way.
It's really not a given, especially the way you're playing currently. You're at the Carabao Cup already. FA Cup, if you had gone out to that, obviously, when you still got Man United and Spurs in there, okay, fine, whatever. And then the Prem, if Arsenal are going to be winning it, then it's not going to reflect well on the Pep, where he's got this amazing striker, scored all these goals, and still holding L's in the Premier League. So, listen, I think you had to win that game, and you did, and you did what you need to do.
Yeah, fucking pussy holes, right? Bilal, I'm coming to you now, yeah? Obviously, you're a United fan. I know you don't like City and I know you don't like Arsenal, but if you had to pick one team to win the Premier League, who was it for you?
United fans hate this one, don't they? Trying to get punched in the face
No,
or
you
punched
know
in the
what?
gut.
At the start of the season, you say it to me, I'd say Arsenal all day.
Yeah.
It's just the way certain Arsenal fans are getting too big for their boots right now.
Okay.
That's where it kind of comes in. Because if you watch the way everyone plays, you watch the way City, I swear to God, the way City are playing right now, it's literally like they're having the same downfall as Liverpool, but their quality of players probably 30-40% better than Liverpool's squad. Each player in each position is probably 20 to 40% better than what Liverpool have, which is why they're still picking up more points than Liverpool. But I'd have to say Arsenal. Arsenal just because City, just this whole oil thing just wound me up for the last 10 years, and they win it every single year. That's the thing. Every single year, it's either them or they're a point away. So purely for that reason, and purely for the reason that Arsenal, the way they're playing, you cannot say they don't deserve it. You cannot say they don't deserve it. No one can, even a Spurs fan can.
You know what, Bilal? Obviously, I'm guessing you watched the game, yeah? Now, for me, I thought Arsenal had much better of the first half. And I think when Thomas Partey went off in that second half, you're seeing the kind of vulnerability that we have in the squad where
this the United game.
Cover. No, the Arsenal and City.
The Arsenal and City.
Yeah. Were you surprised? Were you surprised that Arsenal went and took it to him?
That game, but that game, it kind of felt like, I don't know if people agree with me on this. It felt like Arteta put a semi-strong squad out, but in his heart, he didn't want to go through. But he didn't want to. Do you know when a manager will play a squad? Because he's not going to come out and say, I can't be asked with this cup. But he's also not going
to compete. Yeah.
You have to compete to some extent, which is why he played a half-decent squad. But in his heart, he'd rather not have this cup game because he's pure. His pure focus on the league. You see the way he's on the touchline and everything when it's a league game compared to this. He's got one focus right now, and I don't think he'll be affected at all. I think it won't be affected at all by this result in terms of psychological effect with playing City in 2 weeks. In terms of the league, I don't think they're phased at all. I think if they come to the Emirates, they'll take it to City just the way they took it to United last week. I don't.
Do you know what? Yeah,
I don't think they're scared of City.
I agree with you, bro. And I think with what Arsenal done and Arteta done, I think he put out, like you said, a semi-strong team. So we didn't go to City and get an absolute pasting where the players then will look at it. The players that are on the pitch and on the bench think, "Oh, it looks like City."
Yeah, like in the previous round, where it was City and Liverpool, wasn't it?
Yeah. No. It was City and Chelsea.
Which
Chelsea,
was it? Carabao Cup just now, where City and Liverpool played, wasn't it?
Yeah. No.
Yeah. City and Liverpool, they played in one of the cups. Let me check.
I'm confused.
It was at Etihad and City pasted them.
6-0. 6-0. They beat them. 4-0. 4-0.
No, I'll tell you now. But City took it to them. City pasted them.
Yeah.
I think it finished 3-2. Liverpool did get 2 goals, but it wasn't convincing. It wasn't convincing at all. And this game wasn't like that at all. Like Arsenal, City didn't really take. I don't think they really took it to Arsenal. I think they were
in the Carabao Cup. Yeah, they beat them.
They beat them. Yeah, and that game, City took it to them just the way they took it to Spurs last week. Came out second half and pasted them, but they didn't do that. They didn't do that with Arsenal. They seemed a bit scared of Arsenal. I'm not gonna lie.
But Bilal, you took the words right out of my mouth, mate. They seem scared of us. I'm telling you, they looked at bad like Rob Holding. I thought, no.
I was going to say to Bilal as well, like it's a bit different compared to Ten Hag. Obviously, Ten Hag's like, you know what? I'm going for all the cups and I'm playing my strongest team. I'm not letting no one rest. Whereas I think with Arteta, he probably had a few promises to a few players. You have to play Tierney. Like if Tierney didn't play that game, it would have been like straight. He's out the door. 40 million. He's going to Newcastle. If Turner didn't play, like he had to play him.
Turner was exceptional, by the way.
Yeah, he's good. He's good. If Tomiyasu didn't play, it would have just been a thing where like certain players are now looking at Fabio Viera. Bro, he came for 35 million. He has to play. So I think part of it was a thing where he probably made promises to people in the team to say, look, you're going to play in the cup matches, or you're going to get a chance, because ultimately, you can't keep these men in the squad and not play. Whereas Ten Hag, He's 6 months in. He knows he doesn't have to make promises to man like Fred. He doesn't have to make promises to
after what he's done with Ronaldo. He doesn't have to answer to anyone. He doesn't have to answer to anyone.
What I was saying is to you, Bilal, is like in terms of like he's not brought in other man to say like, all right, you're holding bench, but I'm gonna play you here. These men that are on the bench now, he doesn't care about them because he's
he don't give a shit. About 80% of the players on the bench, there's transfer rumors about him. Wan-Bissaka. Before Dalot got injured, Wan-Bissaka, Harry Maguire, same thing. Half of the bench they're in transfer rumors. So he doesn't care. I mean, after he's done what he's done with Ronaldo, literally, he's got nothing to prove. If he's going to do it to Ronaldo, he should. And then what he did with Rashford there when he slept in. He's literally said, you take the piss and then
you don't play.
I'm the one who's got the last shot. It's literally like that.
Look, boys, can we just touch on Leandro Trossard for fuck's sake?
I was just about to say.
Because nobody spoke about this guy, man. All I know, Patrick, let Patrick get his segue in first on this guy, Tottenham, man. Give us some praise. What do you think about Leandro Trossard?
Too early to say.
Pussy all of it. This
guy, I swear down, this guy.
Go on, Bish.
Trossard, I was gonna say because I know we'll get on to transfer stuff after we've touched on Tottenham and United, and Trossard comes in that conversation. But I thought Trossard looked really good. I thought he looked good when he came on against United. I thought he looked really dangerous against City. But he also really made me realize how poor Viera looked, and I don't want to make it turn a positive into a negative, but it made me think. You know, Trossard to me looks like he's going to fit right in at Arsenal. Is Viera, is it too soon to say he's a flop? Let's sell him on, move on to the next one. Because he just doesn't seem to be getting to grips with it. And I don't know how many more chances he's going to get in big games to be coming on and just being kind of ineffective.
Viera needs a loan. He needs to go to like Palace or Brentford or, even a Leeds.
Do you know what I think about Viera?
He needs to stay in the Prem. Do
you know what I think about? When I think about Viera, right, I'll be honest with you. I think he's a good player. But the problem is in football, you've got high leverage players, high usage players, and you've got players that are kind of drifting in and out of games. I'll tell you another player who's a drifter. ESR. There's times in a game where he's never, ever, ever, like 10 minutes, you're like, are you playing with somebody? I'll tell you another player like that. Son can turn up in 10-minute spells and put in masterclasses, and then you won't hear from him for the whole game. So I think there are moment players. The problem is when he gets his moments, they're so small. They're so insignificant. You think of the Sons, you think of ESR, he will get a goal. He will do something where he's been decisive. Whereas Viera, he's literally, even in his moments, his high peak moments in the game, it's just not enough. He's not swinging anything. He's not moving any needles. So I think there are quite a few players like that whereas someone like Jack Grealish, for example, he's always on the ball. He's always getting a foul. He's doing so. Is it Phil Foden? Odegaard, tackling, doing things. He's not. That's the problem that you've got with Viera. But I think. I'm not going to slander the guy. I think.
You know what? Yeah, I think we're being a bit too harsh on Fabio Vieira since he's come in. He's only had little bits of games here, little bits of games there, and normally 9 out of 10 games that he's in, he's either scoring or assisting. I think this is his first season in the Premier League. You got to think just before we went on the Christmas break, for the World Cup, you had what's his face? We played Wolves away, and Viera in that first half, he looked like he was wondering. He wasn't really involved in the game when he came on for Xhaka. Xhaka was sick. That second half, he was the guy who created the assist for us to score the first goal, which was very vital. I think what he needs to do is go and do an Eddie Nketiah, get his ass in the gym, bulk up, get used to the Premier League for a year, and then maybe next year we might start seeing the best out of him.
Hold on. He needs to do a what, Primsy?
He needs to do an Eddie and Nketiah, fam. That's what he needs to do. I'm telling you. I'm talking about his physique. I'm talking about my guy. What do you want me to get on my knees for Eddie or something, bro? What's wrong with you, fam? Every time I'm talking about Eddie and Nketiah, this guy's jumping on the bandwagon.
Listen, bro. I'm glad you're on the train now, my guy. I'm glad you're
on the train.
On the train and that. Jesus.
Well, look. We're done with Arsenal now, We're done with Arsenal now, Let me move on to the United fan first. Give us your opinions, Bilal, on Liverpool getting knocked out the FA Cup, to Brighton. Brighton without Cancelo in the middle as well, bro.
Bro, it's not looking good. Did you see that goal from what's his name?
Mitoma.
Bro. That's what Liverpool should be doing.
Sent Gomez to the chippy, mate.
Bro. I seen a comment. It said he sent Gomez twerking. The way
yeah, Gomez was twerking. Have you seen the Ice Spice video where they show Gomez and then he turns to Ice Spice bending over twerking?
Nah, bro, it's rough. Bro, their season's just going from. Do you believe in this Klopp 7-season curse?
Yeah, it looks like it, man.
I'm starting to believe.
Yeah, it looks like
it's not looking good. Even the players he's brought in.
I know.
How many more excuses are you gonna keep giving Darwin Núñez? How many more? I've been giving him the benefit of the doubt that he's gonna turn up at some point, but fuck me, bro. This guy is just—he's got no composure to his game. He just seems like he's just a pace player at this point. He can run, he can create a chance, get into space, and then he just fucks it up completely. Gakpo don't look great. What's going on with him?
You know what it is, Bilal? Sorry to interject, but you know what it is? When you're struggling as a team and then you've got all these new cogs and new units and you've got to bring them in, it's so much harder for them to come in and adapt. But if the team was playing well and you integrate one or two, they have a bit more time. But you got Harvey Elliott.
Say that. You look at Cristiano last year in a terrible Man United team. This guy.
But Ronaldo's a veteran, though. Ronaldo's different. These are
even more so. This guy's off the pace. He's aging. And he turned up and scored 25 goals in our worst season.
It is a bit different now, isn't it? It's a bit different. Ronaldo was
slightly because of his experience.
Yeah, exactly.
Because of his experience
is the key thing.
But it goes to show it's not all of.
Go on,
yeah,
bro.
To some extent.
Go on, bro. Sorry,
to some extent.
Do you know what? Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. Yeah, I think what's going on at Liverpool is an absolute madness, mate. These guys, were challenging for the Premier League last season. They've got 80% of their normal players in the squad that everyone was calling world class, and the drop off has just been fucking disgraceful, mate. I think the detriment has come into their midfield area where they've been buying shit players over the time in regards to Naby Keita, who everyone thought was going to come good, fell off. Thiago didn't really fit their style of play to be their kind of number 6 or be in that midfield. Henderson not getting replaced, all of these kind of players, and it doesn't look good for them. At the end of the day, you got to look at it next season coming. These men ain't going to be in the Champions League. Jude Bellingham, say bye to that. You get me? Say bye to Jude Bellingham because he ain't coming. Go on, Guna.
The problem Liverpool have as well is, listen, I've never seen a fan base and a club mention their number 2, Pep Linders, so much. They blame them their number 2. They blame their number 2 for everything. They blame. Yeah. So I'm like, when all these Liverpool fans do their player ratings, why don't you put Pep Linders in there instead of putting Klopp? Why do you keep playing? Why do you keep saying Klopp gets 0 for today's performance? No. You Liverpool fans need to get a grip. Basically, you have to just be honest. He's doing his best Wenger impression right now. The thing with Klopp is and you know what? I don't even want to talk too much on Klopp because he's a nasty guy. Like, he has his 1,000th game the other day, and all he mentions is Arsenal and how Arsene Wenger didn't win and how he did. Like, he's a disgusting man. At the end of the day, for me, I hope that this guy rots, man. I hope he rots, bro, and I hope Liverpool go down in flames with him, bro. At the end of the day, I want them to be out of the Champions League for a while, man. Honestly,
have you not noticed one thing where Liverpool and United can never coincide doing well together? Yeah. The year they've dropped off is the year United stepped up, and it was similar back 10 years ago. It was a similar thing. Klopp came in about a year later. They started stepping up, and we just going downhill season by season.
You know what? I've never looked at it like that. You know, bro.
I noticed it. It's back and forth. Look, 20 years we dominated. They didn't win the league for 20, 30 years, and then they are there. I mean, they only won it once in all them years because City dominated it. But they were competing at the top. They were competing at the top while we're in the mud, in and out of the Champions League, in and out of top 4.
Some voodoo, that, innit?
You know, Bish was loving the sound of that. City dominated it, dominated it. But look, Bish, we'll give you the last word, because we know how much you hate Liverpool. But let's ask Patty first. Who is the problem at Liverpool? Is it Klopp or is it the owners, or do the players need to pull the fucking socks up?
It's a bit of both, I'm sorry, not both. It's a bit of all three, to be fair. It's all three. The FSG thing, as an outsider looking at it, he has been back to it. I'm not a Liverpool fan, so I don't know the ins and outs. But when I look at Darwin Núñez coming in, Gakpo coming in, Harvey Elliott coming in, Carvalho coming in, Konate's kind of relatively newish. They spend a lot of money. So I know Liverpool fans will say, "Oh, we need this, we need that, blah blah blah," but they have spent money. maybe it's not on the right. Obviously, Louise as well. No, is it Louise? The winger. That's injured.
No, David Louis. David Louis. Not
David Louise, you know.
Oh, you know who I'm
my
talking about,
days,
innit? But yeah, you know who I'm talking about. So to be fair, they spent a lot of money, man. Nunes was like almost 100. Gakpo was about 30 or 40, and then Louise or whatever he's called. Freaking, I can't pronounce it.
Douglas Louise. What's his name?
No, not Douglas Louise.
Louis Diaz, man. Louis Diaz.
That's it. He's about 50 or 60. So they spent a lot of money. Do you know what I mean? But maybe they've bought like the same kind of player over and over. Did you really need Gakpo if you got Nunes? Did you really need another winger just to like stop another club getting him when they could have? Do you know what I mean? So I don't know. Maybe the recruitment hasn't been that great. Klopp definitely needs to also hold some corn because again, it's just the same old shit in every game. I'm not seeing anything. I don't know. Like he's getting beat by less opposition time and time again. And I know a Brighton fan wouldn't like me to say that because Brighton are playing out of their skins at the moment. But realistically, Liverpool should be beating Brighton, especially in a cup game. Do you know what I mean? That shouldn't
He's
be
moving
happening.
a bit like Conte, ain't he, with the not changing formations or tactics?
Yeah, definitely. Like
kind of in the same, but at least Liverpool are somewhat spending some money in it. That's the difference. They're getting some. They've got some decent signings, man. Diaz was good. Jota was very good.
Yeah, Jota as well. They've spent a lot of money, man.
Who's the last like very, very good signing that Spurs made? Like very good.
What's your definition of very good? Because
not world class, because I wouldn't say any of the Liverpool players that have been brought in. Kulusevski's a good signing.
Come in. Bentancur's come in and been good. Romero's come in and been good. So we've had some good players in terms of they've come in and what they've done. In terms of the money spent, we spent a lot of money as well, but on the wrong players, to be fair.
Yeah.
Obviously, we're going to see. So it depends on what angle you're looking at it, because when Kulu and Bentancur come in, these are players that no one really is like, oh my God, that's a great sign.
I'm not going to lie. I seen Kulusevski for what the fuck's Bradley from EastEnders doing.
Yeah, I was going to ask, why did you not say Richarlison?
Oh, why did you say Richarlison? I forgot about him. I'm not gonna lie.
The guy's that dead. He forgot about him.
He's started because we were talking about him. It's like, yeah, he's a good signing, and he's for me. Obviously, the only downside to Richie is that he's been injured a lot. But when he plays, you can see how good he is. He's come on. He's made difference in games.
You can see how many goals he gets as well. Top-notch scorer he is.
Couple assists, couple of goals in the Champions League. It takes time, innit? Not every player settles straight away. But yeah,
I think Viera's got more goals than him, a player that
I'm not gonna lie. I think me and him got the same Prem goals.
And one in the Europa League.
He's got more than Richarlison.
To no one.
2 goals, maybe.
Richarlison's got none in the Premier League.
He's got 2 goals in the Champions League. No one. And me and him got the same in the Prem. That's it.
Yeah, you're an idiot. You're an idiot for that one. But yeah, fair enough.
Well, Bish, we'll get your last say on Liverpool, because obviously you and Liverpool have been fighting tooth and nail year in, year out for the title, for the big trophies. And did you expect the fall off to be so dramatic, bro?
No, I didn't expect it to be this significant. I mean, I was going to say with the last word on the conversation, I was going to pivot a little bit and just touch on Brighton, because I do think it's a little bit deep that, Brighton are now above Liverpool in the league. They didn't just beat them. I watched that game. They outplayed Liverpool. Even when they went 1-0 down, they didn't look wobbled. They didn't look shaken. They continued to play their game, worked it back to 1-1. Worked it back to, ended up getting the winner at the end, a great goal. They lost half the flipping players and half the staff halfway through the season and just adapted on the fly, and if anything, have got better. So I did just want to take a moment to just say I don't think it's fully fair that sometimes when these big clubs, Liverpool, kind of drop right off, we find ourselves every week talking about their drop off as opposed to some of the teams that are really stepping up to the plate and putting them in their place. But Brighton didn't just beat them. Brighton are a better team than Liverpool at the moment. They're not above them by coincidence.
Brentford as well.
Brentford, Brentford. But Brighton just have really impressed me just because of the way that they've navigated what's happened. You know what I mean? Even now with Caicedo, kind of all the rumours about Caicedo getting sold and having to bring new players in, they're just adapting really well. So I just wanted to give a shout out to Brighton. But I think with Liverpool, I didn't expect it to be this severe. But I've said before on this channel, I think that Liverpool fans have got a million excuses. But one of the big problems is that we're seeing now one of the cons of that Klopp rock and roll style football. Like, there are different styles of football, there are different styles of managing, and playing that type of a way, playing pretty much the same first 11, 12, 13 players year in year, competing on 3-4 fronts, playing this proper gung-ho football, high energy football, it does catch up with you. Players get burnt out, injuries happen, players age more quickly or
I was going to say this.
Yeah, even like Henderson and some of these man in the middle that have been too old and too dead for too long, that their system doesn't give no grace to that. Do you know what I mean?
This
City
was the
had
next thing I was going to say.
Fernandinho, we probably had 2 years where Fernandinho was like past his best, but was still putting in a great job and a great service for our team because we play in a way that accommodate him having lost the yard of pace, having to drop a little bit deeper, having to shift into a centre-back kind of role. Liverpool's style isn't able to adapt. So when these players are either getting too old or when they're dropping out of form or when they're getting injuries, they just, the style and the team isn't able to adapt. Yeah. And I think, they've got all of these excuses about money that they spent. They spent a lot of money, so I don't take that one. They've got a lot of excuses all the time about injuries they've had and X, Y, Z. But for me, I just think that that's not sustainable, that style of football. And that's why credit to Arteta for how he approached that FA Cup game, because clearly he's took a leaf out of Pep's book and understands that sometimes you are going to lose games or even drop out of trophies as a result of trying to have more longevity in how you manage your team, whether that's managing players' fitness or whether, like you guys said, it's about keeping Tierney happy, keeping Turner happy, keeping players in the squad so you're not just relying on the first 11, 12, 13 players. So
and that's right. He doesn't trust his squad. And look, I know earlier on, Prims, you asked who's at fault. Is it the manager or is it the owners? And listen, you missed one out. The fans there give Klopp excuse after excuse, week after week. He can make mistakes. He plays Harvey off the left. He's bought Gakpo. I don't want to hear no nonsense about Pep Linders persuaded him to buy a player. This is nonsense. In what realm do you hear the number 2 has more authority? If that's the case, if he's now being swayed, then that means you need to go because you're not the leader that we thought you were. You're not the one you should get no credit for everything. And the fans, week in and week out, give excuse after excuse after excuse as to why they're not playing well, what this and what that. And unfortunately, Liverpool, they need to hold this fact that he's doing his best Arsene Wenger impression. Right now, people need to understand, look, sometimes as great as you are as a person, as a manager, all the sort of leverage you have within a club, maybe it's too much, and maybe you need to go, or maybe you need to just freshen it up. And listen, Liverpool fans, you're not gonna believe me. You're gonna think that I don't know what I'm talking about. But ultimately, Klopp is gonna be the guy that needs to bounce because he ain't good enough no more. Like, he is not good enough.
Do you know what? It won't surprise me if Klopp end up walking by the end of the season, because you got to look at it at some kind of perspective that maybe he might be covering up for the owners to a certain extent. And whether the Liverpool fans are just bypassing that, you're going to have to wait and see, because if Klopp walks out, that means his thoughts and his plans ain't aligning up with FSG and with the people that are beyond that. So we got to wait and see. But I think Liverpool, they're in a bit of a mess at the moment. But let's move on from Liverpool. Yeah, let's touch on one more team from the FA Cup before we have a look into some of the transfers that have been knocking around. And we'll start off with you, Bilal. United. Yeah, his man beat Reading. Rashford. Very good, bro. Talk to me about Rashford.
What has happened to this guy, man? He's just got last season. You lot probably seen this guy was completely written off. Even to some extent, I had enough of him. He was coming on as a sub, and he just looked like he didn't care at all. Like, there was just no fight with him, no passion in it with him at all. I remember one game he came on. I can't remember which game it was, but you just seen him. He just there's a full-on counter-attack, which you see him now, burst on the pitch, he'll take it, eyes closed. And this attack, he just, there was just no passion for him at all. The guy just literally made no effort. And that's the point where I was just like, yo, this guy needs to go, because that PSG rumor started flying about as well, that PSG want him. And I was like, you know what, it might be best that he parts ways with United at this point, because it's the only way he's going to save his career. But now, this guy, he's just a different gravy, man. I was disappointed.
Ten Hag's got to take credit for it.
Ten Hag's got to take big credit, man. I mean, even a lot of people were worried that what I touched on before, when he got he got benched because he slept in. A lot of people were worried that he was going to disrupt his form. People weren't too sure on that call made by Ten Hag, but it seems like Ten Hag knows exactly what he's doing. He's got it all on lock at the moment. I was disappointed for Rashford as well that his goal got disallowed, because he was going to break that record and then he would have kept his run going as well. But I think he's still full of confidence. United, just the way they're playing now, like it's a completely different team. Like we're not. I know a lot of people put us in the title contention thing. I've never seen it that way. But this season, the focus needs to be top 4 in a trophy. That is where it needs to be. Shouldn't be focusing on this whole title thing because Arsenal are running away with it. And I do believe at some point City are going to step up because they always do. The game against Spurs, they've shown that they've still got it in them. Because I've not seen, besides that 9-0 that Liverpool did. I know we are touching back on them again, but I've not seen one game where they've shown that they've still got it in them. But you see the way that Liverpool City have destroyed quite a few teams this season. Like that Wolves game, they ran through Wolves like it was nothing. And whatever Pep said to them at halftime against Spurs, it clearly worked. They came out and absolutely ran through them like it was nothing. Sorry, Patrick, bro. I have to put it on you there. But they came out, and straight away you seen they were that old City that we all know that can just beat anyone on their day. But United, the way they play now, they've got a swagger to them again. They've got that swagger that they've been missing for a very, very long time. Just the little things like Fred. Would you ever, if I said to you last year, Fred's gonna score a backheel goal from a cross, you'd think, is this guy mad? It's just they've got something to him now. Even Anthony, I've seen finally. I've been very unsure.
Yeah, hey, allow it with Anthony, fam.
Bro, no. Hang on. Let me say it. I've been very unsure with him because he scored a few good goals, but his link-up play and stuff, I've not been convinced. Even he's giving me Sancho vibes when he's on the ball. Like he seems scared to take on a player. At the start of the season, he was doing it a bit, and now when he gets the ball, he's kind of just wagging his leg around. He doesn't really know what to do. And I think he might
be the next one up for that treatment center where Sancho was.
I just feel like it's a confidence thing. I think he came in full of confidence, but then he's realized the Premier League isn't what he thought it was going to be. It's a lot harder. It's a lot more demanding. And but that pass he played was you cannot argue with that. That's the first time I've seen him do something like that, and I was happy with that. And it's Cassie, man. Cassie's the glue in the team. He's just insane. You've seen how much. I mean, it's Reading, so you can't. There's only so much you can say. But just the way the team held it down, Cassie just holds on that midfield. And I think the next big move for United is to get a good, basically substituting for him because McTominay and Fred cannot cut that job. Eriksen is a 60-minute player. Eriksen is literally a 60-minute player. Bruno needs to be staying. Bruno gets so involved in the game in other areas, but I think if you keep Cassie behind him or a player like Cassie, he can do what he does best, which is attack. So I think United's next move, but even with this whole ownership thing right now, they're not doing anything. But if they can get a solid replacement in for Cassie, then we're in a very good position.
I think they'll probably be looking more at maybe getting a replacement in for Eriksen because the guy came off on crutches, didn't he, in that game?
Yeah, I was about to ask about that. He looks like he's out for a while.
Do you know what I mean? 60 minutes of turn to no minutes, fam. It's all a mad thing. But Patrick, look, shall we be looking at Man United now and looking at them as a real team again? Like, this isn't just a bit of form that they've caught, but look at United like these are back and they're trying to mean business because obviously we've all been having a laugh and a joke about United and saying, oh, they're not in no title race, this, that, and the other. They'll end up falling off here or there. But Ten Hag really looks like he's got a plan together there.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know, man. It's too early for me to say they're back. It's half a season. So with all due respect, let's see how things pan out. But as it stands right now, they're looking formidable. Do you know what I mean? They're looking like they've got a bit of steel about them, scoring a couple goals, but it's too early. I'm still not convinced, I'm not going to lie. The same way I'm still thinking that Newcastle as well, even though a lot of people giving them plaudits, even though Newcastle have a solid foundation, they don't score enough goals for me. They're still, even though they're defensively solid, they're nicking the odd game here or there, and they've drawn a lot of games, and I think that will be their downfall. So
I'm not convinced with Newcastle.
Yeah, I'm not convinced with Newcastle. United look good, but I'm not, like Bilal saying, he's very sensible. United aren't in the title race because a lot of United fans are saying that. I don't think that.
Like James in the chat, big up James, like him, just to let you know.
It's the same thing as what you said about Arsenal. The the fans they're dying to hear them words because it's been 10 years. The hunger is there. The hunger's there, but it's not. You can't say that after 6 months. Man.
Yeah, exactly. It's a bit
look,
too early.
Arteta, what is it? Arteta's 4 years, 4 or 5 years in. It takes time. These things don't happen overnight.
4 or 5
3 and a half. This is personally, it's not 3.5. It's just over 3 years. It was like 3 years and a month or a couple of days. Second
You
thing
be
is,
looking at the calendar, fam, doing your revision.
no, because everyone it was his 3-year anniversary the other day. That's the first thing. The second thing,
Anniversary.
in his first season, he didn't spend 200 God knows how much. You've accelerated this, so yes, you're gonna use this excuse over and over and over again. But ultimately, Bilal, I'm sorry, you can't keep saying it's 6 months. I was trying to go easy on you, no homo, no nothing. But bro, when you're coming out of this madness, bro, man has to just set pace on you, bro. Everyone can get it, my guy, and you're gonna get it because no one in this panel is not gonna let you get away with that.
What am I getting for? What did I say?
Nah, bro, you're like, oh, it's 6 months, 6 months. Yeah, 6 months, but you spent enough money to last 2-3 years for certain clubs, bro.
They're overpaid though.
It doesn't matter. You still pay
Anthony's not an 85 million player.
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. He's meant to be an 85 million pound player who's a game changer. So you come in with a decent squad. You didn't come in with what Arteta had. We had to get rid of Mustafi's.
No, he's had to turn around the whole squad. Like
no. But you still had it. It was only last year, and I can't say because we weren't speaking last year. But I'm sure when Champions League Varane came in, I'm sure when all these other players, Ronaldo came in, and Sancho came in that summer, you were very excited about your team.
Straight up. I thought we were in a title race.
Okay, so now all of a sudden, just because it's a thing where like now you don't have Ronaldo, who we know is washed out, and then you've got all these other players, doesn't mean that you're not a good team. Your starting point was further than everybody else.
No, that's not what I'm saying. I know we've got the quality. 100%, we've got the quality. Bar one striker maybe to compete for the title. It's the way the mentality of the players for the last 2 years under Ollie and the way they've been playing.
I know it was the fact that
all the dressing room drama. He's had to come in and transform all of that. It's a big job.
It was the fact that how 6 months, bro. I was like, bro, like how doesn't matter 6 months to 2 days, bro. 6 years.
He's got three years of we've still got Phil Jones. This guy's got
who doesn't play.
He's got so much. He's got so much.
HMRC needs to investigate.
I'm talking about the 16 plays that you play up to probably like Fred, and you have to play.
No.
Like the natural.
Last season, straight up. I thought we were in a title race. I was a bit deluded as well because we've seen Ronaldo come in, seen Varane come in, and what Sancho. What more are you going to think? Obviously, the way that club was being managed by Ollie as well, and then Ranić, I just don't get the whole Ranić thing at all. But
if I'm Pat, I'm dying that we're 48 minutes in and we've not talked about Tottenham. And Prem was like, we've got one more game to talk about. Let's move on. And I'm looking at Pat thinking, we're going to get to talk about Son's performance.
I'm going to summarize it quickly.
No, it's not. No, I weren't putting that on you, Bilal. We don't have to move on from United, but I could just see in Prem's eyes he thought, let's just skip Tottenham. Let's not give no credit to Son's performance. That screamer of a goal.
We're used to being bum chums right here, fam. I don't know what's going on about with you two right here. You know what? Yeah, let me do something here. Let me move you over here. Yeah, let you two hold hands in it. Let you two hold hands.
Go on, Bilal. Sorry, bro. I weren't trying to cut your flow of thought.
No, it's calm. To summarize, my 6 month point was that the club, in terms of the internals of the dressing room, have been a complete mess. The players were completely flat. You seen it at the end of last season. You seen it at the start of this season, getting slapped 4-0 by Brentford. There's just no confidence within the team. And the 6 month thing, I say it because for him to have dealt with this whole Ronaldo thing, he's got some confidence back in the players. Even the way he's dealt with Sancho, I'm happy he's done that. Sancho has not been the player that we expected him to be since he came in last year. He's shown glimmers of it. Like you've seen the quality he can have, but not on a consistent level. I've not been happy with it for the amount of money that United paid. What he's shown at Dortmund, he's clearly got more in him, and there's something missing. So whatever Ten Hag's done to deal with that, I'm very happy with it. But that's what I mean by my 6 month thing. We've definitely got the quality, but for him to have rebuilt basically the relationships within the club, within the players and the dressing room within 6 months, that's what I'm happy with, to be honest.
I give that.
And within, I'd say another 12, 100%, we should be competing if we get the right striker in, for example, in summer. Definitely.
Fair play.
I think that's fair.
Good
I
chat.
think that's
Yeah,
fair.
that.
Well, now Bish has touched on it. Let's talk about Son's revival, Patrick? What's going on, fam? 3-0, Preston
What
North
goal
End.
that first one was,
Yeah,
though, bro.
yeah. I mean,
bro, that
you know,
Effortless.
it's it's about time, innit? Really, first half was a bit. Second half, the quality shone through, and maybe that's the game Son needed. A bit of a less opposition game, away from home, not that much pressure on him, and you kind of just saw him just relax a bit and just finesse and strike the ball like we're used to seeing Son. So the first goal, what a strike from outside the box, keeper beat as soon as he hit it. Second goal was nice, got on the ball, turned the defender, banged it. And just looked a bit more comfortable. And then obviously Janjuma coming in and scoring, Kudu assist. It's a nice chilled 3-0 win, obviously onto the next round. So, away from home against Preston North End, they're like 11th or 12th in the championship. It's what you expect, innit? Nice and easy, three goals, clean sheet. Just keep it moving.
Can I ask you something, Pat, on the Son goal? The first goal, obviously, I thought it was a bit of a screamer, really.
Yeah.
But Son's reaction was, like, quite muted. And especially, like, given that he's been struggling and stuff, like, I half expect him to be, like, passionate in the celebration. But I was trying to read what the expression was on his face because he was, like, he was almost, like, subdued. And then I wondered whether afterwards, is it relief? Was that the look of relief on his face?
Yeah, I
like,
think
he's
so.
been so low on confidence and so beat down that he got that goal and he was like, oh, thank God.
Yeah, and also as well, you don't want to be going crazy and celebrating like a madman against Preston North End. You look a bit silly, innit? So it's like, thank God I scored. I should be doing that. It's almost like he knows that's what he's capable of and the level he should be playing at. So it's just like, yeah, cool. And then afterwards, you saw him like kind of G up the crowd and say, let's go. And then obviously he got the second. So yeah, man. But it's
I didn't watch the game, Patrick. Did he have his mask on or did he have it off?
No mask. No mask.
That must be the reason.
Is it true, Patrick, that he's found his level? That's why he played well.
That's what the word on the street is, you know what I mean?
Listen. At the end of the day, it's a team you got to beat to progress to the next round. He's done what he needed to do.
Is he going to score next game in the Premier League though?
I hope so. City at home. Let's
okay, because that's what I would like. I need that to happen.
Yeah.
So that would be nice.
Unfortunately we need to win that game for us, which is a bit of a bummer. But if we do lose, you know what? Sometimes, like they say, it's for the greater good. Sometimes you got to take.
Oh, get no, but not that one again, fam. Not that one again. You get
do a little celebration
How do Spurs fans allow this guy to speak? I'm closing my eyes, bro. How?
And it's even worse that he's throwing up the Black Power fist for it.
Yeah,
I know, bro. Like there's some unity here.
Greater
Bro.
good.
What the hell? There's
Carefree
no
Lewis will
bro.
understand as
This
well.
guy is crazy, bro. Just do
Well,
your
look,
job, man. Son,
Have you got the draw,
step up,
Pamsy?
bro.
Yeah, I'm gonna put the draw on because we're nearly an hour in and we've not even touched on the fucking transfers just yet. And there's some big ones as well, man. So you know what happens? Time flies when you're having fun, boys. I'm telling you now. But look, this is the draw. This is the draw that's taken place. It came in earlier on today. So that's Wrexham or Sheffield United will face Tottenham Hotspur. Hopefully Wrexham beat them. You know what I mean? Obviously, it'd probably be Sheffield United.
Yeah, hopefully Wrexham versus Tottenham will be a nice one, especially Ryan Reynolds and
yeah, man. The guy might be dancing on the dance floor in his Deadpool outfit and all that. It's all a mad thing.
Deadpool versus Spider-Man.
Who are Arsenal playing?
Listen, mate, we're playing news on the 15th. Don't you watch that, fam. Don't you watch that.
There must be a typo in there. Where's
Can't see Arsenal.
Where's the best?
We got bigger fish to fry. You know what I mean?
You don't know, bigger fish to fry. Arsenal's ribbons already on the cup. You can see Emirates.
Yes, Gooner, you tell him 14.
What if City win it and start? City win and start flossing with it.
Well, you know what? Look, yous have got Bristol, so that's an easy victory for yous. United have got Derby or West Ham.
It's looking like West Ham. It's 2-0 right now.
Yeah, 2-0
West Ham.
Yeah.
Okay, so that could be an interesting game. To be fair, but you'd expect United to pull through.
You'd expect United to take that one. Yeah,
you know what I mean, there's obviously no Chelsea in there as well, so they got knocked out, I think, last round. So we're gonna have to wait and see. But let's move on because I'm gonna have to come to you, Guna, first, because there's been reports that Arsenal, David Ornstein has reported it. Fabrizio Romano has reported it that we've been linked to Jorginho of Chelsea. Now, I'm not gonna lie, I'm not happy about this one, but at the same time, you know, we have to try to trust Arteta because the players he has brought in have kind of hit the ground running, barring Zambi Lokonga. Do you reckon it's a little bit of a smoke screen so Brighton can get a little bit pushed so they can push Caicedo over to Arsenal? Because now Arsenal have unsettled the player. Do you know what I mean? They've unsettled Caicedo. He's put in a request. Can you really see him then want him to integrate him back in the team? Is his head going to be there? Do you reckon it's a bit of a smoke screen, or do you reckon it's real news?
Do you know what? I think the annoying thing is, look, Arsenal knew that Elneny was out from the middle of January, and we've wasted all this time annoyingly not getting a player in. Now, why I don't believe it is because you're going from Caicedo to Jorginho. It literally is such a different profile of a player. I really, really do not want Jorginho, only because it's just financing Chelsea's 120 million pound or euros deal for Enzo Fernandez. And I've already had Luiz, Willian, Czech. I don't want another one, man. Like, he's not playing for Chelsea, and their midfield is dire. If that's the case, I'm good. But listen, I love Arteta and what he's doing. His talent ID is amazing. It's excellent, but yeah, this one, it's not moving me at all.
Is he maybe bringing in a bit like they said with Jesus and Zinchenko, a kind of a winning experience? You know, he's won the Euros.
You see, the thing for me though is like, if you're going from Caicedo and you've got Partey who's 29, you've got Xhaka who's 30 or 31.
Got age in the middle.
You already got the age, you've already got the experience, you've already got winners in the team. So for me, I'm now looking at it and I'm saying, right, you want Caicedo because he's a different profile to all of them. He's not even the same profile necessarily as Partey at this moment in time, because he's more of a destroyer. He can't pass to the level of Partey. I mean, not many people can. So listen, man, I'll be very, very shocked if that is the case. I actually think we're going to end up with nobody. We did it last January, obviously, to our detriment, out in top four. The worry is if Partey goes down injured. I mean, listen, you saw what happened on the weekend or Friday, against Man City. The drop off is astronomical, and just it's annoying for Lokonga because he's not crap. But when you literally have Partey on, and then you go from Partey to Lokonga, bro, it's like going from, I don't know, J-Lo to, like, I don't even know, bro, like Theresa May or something, bro.
What, the nitty on the corner you talking about? J-Lo to the nitty on the corner.
Bro. It's just the levels, man. So yeah, this is where it's annoying. But I don't know what you think about it either, man.
Do you know what? Yeah, just to quickly touch on it before we get everyone else's opinion. I think we are panicking a little bit if we go in for a Jorginho. I think the club have to take some kind of responsibility and learn from the mistakes from January and not bringing in a striker like we did when we didn't replace Aubameyang. We have to learn from that. We're going for the title. You clearly see where the club's mindset is. I think Bilal touched on it a little bit earlier on with Arteta on the sidelines. Against Man City, you didn't see that hype at Arteta that you normally see in the Premier League games. And I think that's because his mind and his focus was clearly on the Premier League. And that's where his passion is, because we haven't been in this position for a long time. If we don't bring in a midfielder now, it's going to be absolute crazy. I think we will get Caicedo. I think it is just a little bit of a smokescreen, this Jorginho news, because Arsenal have been accustomed to dropping out of deals if they don't think the price is right. And I think a lot of clubs around know that Arsenal are willing to do that and move on to plan B. So it could just be a bit of PR coming out just to, David Ornstein as well. We know he's connected to the club as well. So hopefully, this is what I'm hoping, and fingers crossed we can get him over the line, man, because I can't see Brighton integrating him back in the squad. They're going to be getting a record fee for him. And Hugh says in 6 months he might come in. They might not even play him, and his valuation might depreciate. So this probably be a perfect time for them to sell him. So we're gonna have to wait and see. There's 1 day of the window left, and I'm just hoping, keeping my fingers crossed, we can bring in somebody that can fill the boots of Thomas Partey. We'll be in a good place, because now we've got a bit of squad depth. Obviously, ESR is out again with a little niggle, but he should be back soon. Jesus should be back. So we've got players now to fill the mold and hopefully push on for the title. But Bish, what do you reckon? Jorginho, do you reckon he'd be a good move for Arsenal if we did go in for him?
He doesn't jump to mind as the first person you'd go out and buy, does he? I mean, I do echo a little bit of what Gunnar was saying, that in fairness to Arteta and Edu and anyone else that's been involved in the kind of recent batch of signings and decisions, you kind of have to put a bit of faith in whatever their vision is. You know what I mean? I'm at this point now with City, with Pep. I mean, we've not even spoke about the Cancelo move, but for me, if Pep's not happy with him, if Pep wants him to go, if Pep thinks he needs to go, get him out of here. Do you know what I mean? Like, Pep is king, and I think Arteta's earning himself into that position where you almost would say, all right, let's see what his vision is for him. Do you know what I mean? Maybe he's got an idea of how he wants him to fit in a way that we can't see. But I think Caicedo, to me, is a more obvious strengthener for Arsenal, not just this season, but if you look at trying to maintain this position for the next 2, 3, 4, 5 years. I think with the Caicedo one, don't be surprised if tomorrow we wake up and find that another, City and United are in the mix and have put bids in. I could definitely see him ending up going somewhere totally different to Chelsea or Arsenal. They're already saying City are interested. Apparently, my man said in an interview a year or two ago that his dream was to play for United. Antonio Valencia was his idol, playing at United and stuff like that. So you could still see a situation where someone else swoops in for him, and maybe Arsenal are a little bit, they shouldn't be in this position, but maybe they are a little bit in a place where they're thinking, if we don't get him, these are the other players that we've basically worked out deals for. Maybe we've had a bit of a background conversation with Chelsea, or maybe that's where the rumour came from was just them reaching out to say, hey, if we was to come poking around for Jorginho for X amount, what would you think? And maybe that was enough for that rumour to get out, and because no bid's been placed, has it? It's just expression interest, and maybe that is Arsenal saying, okay, here's some guys on a short list we've got. If the Caicedo deal doesn't go through, who can we get done in 24 hours? Do you know what I mean? So that because if they're gambling on trying to win the league this year, something is better than nothing. You shouldn't be in that position with one day of the window to go. But if they feel like we need another player in the middle of the park and he's third on the list, then if number 1 and 2 you can't get him, then would you rather you didn't get him and didn't get anyone? Or do you just say, right, we take him and then we strengthen again in the summer? City.
But then we don't want to be stuck with a 30-year-old and then he ends up fucking us around on big wages and stuff. It's going to be the same kind of situation with
sign him on a 2-year or something. You don't have to put him on a flipping 6-year contract like Arsenal were doing with all these other old man. Man, we're bringing in David Luiz on 5-year contracts.
Is the player going to want to move on a 2-year contract? You know what I'm saying?
Well, I don't know what his deal is at Chelsea at the moment, but he might decide that another 2 years at a top club in the Prem, maybe if he skips this opportunity, next time the window comes around, it's not going to be Arsenal knocking. It's going to be, somebody abroad, or it's going to be a West Ham or somebody. So
yeah. Well, let's just stick with you, Bish, as well, because obviously we'll move on from the But everyone in the chat, make sure you're smashing a like on this video. We want to get this stream pushed out to as many people as possible. We can't do it without you, so I'd appreciate if you're in here, you're watching, you're listening. Hit the like. It is totally free of charge. You get me? Don't fucking hate, appreciate. That's what the saying is. So make sure you go and do that. Yeah. And also all the Mandem's links to their channels are in the description. Make sure you go and show the Mandem some love. It's just one click of a button and hit the subscribe. Do you know what I mean? So make sure you do that. But Tom, look, Cancelo, the word on the street is, he stuck it on Pep's toes, and Pep's looked at him and said, yo, bro, none of that round here. He's give him out to Bayern Munich with an option of a £62 million buyout as well. Are you surprised about that? Because I think everybody has been surprised.
I mean, obviously, I'm surprised about the details of the situation. There wasn't enough that you've seen on the pitch or on the sidelines to suspect that they would have been having it out in training. So that part is surprising. But I must say, and I've been a bit on a bit of an island with this the last couple of weeks, but I said this probably for the first time after the United game, maybe I was saying it before then, but just this season, and especially the second half of the season, I feel like people have started to figure Cancelo out a little bit, and they started to find ways. I don't know if they're setting traps for him. I don't know if they're... A lot of the goals that we're conceding on the break this year are coming down 2 passageways. They're either coming down the middle of the park when Rodri's getting isolated because we don't have the same kind of secondary, semi-defensive minded, explosive player like a Yaya or like De Bruyne used to be, but he's kind of been pushed further up now. So it's either coming down that middle bit of the park and Rodri's getting exposed and it's all of a sudden has got 3 runners going past him, or it's coming down that right side and it's, you know, that ball that came over the top where Rashford was offside. Cancelo was like on the halfway line at the time when all of that was going on. Nowhere near what's going on. And I understand that that's part of how Cancelo has been asked to play. I understand that's part of the trade-off that you get with him. And I don't think he's as bad as Trent in terms of like one-on-one situations or like making full-on mistakes. Starting to go into that category for me a little bit of like amazing going forward, but you're becoming a liability going backwards.
I wanted to ask you though, I wanted to ask you, with Pep, I know there was a quote that he said a few seasons back with, I think it was Rio Ferdinand, if someone doesn't want to be there, he will kind of, that they're free to leave.
100%,
he left. I think he let Sane go and sort of the other place.
Sterling.
Don't you think? Yeah, Sterling as well. But don't you think that as a manager, it might have been better for him to, you know, in a season like now where you're not playing the Harlem Globetrotter football, you're struggling a little bit, you're going for the Champions League, you're still going for the Prem, you know, one of your key cogs, to let him go just like that? Like, don't you think as a manager, you try and find a way, like be a bit tactile to say, look, whatever's happened, you know, we move on. Like last season, I don't know if you saw in the All or Nothing documentary, we saw an issue, I think, with Lacazette and Cedric. No one knew that until the documentary came out. So I don't know what you think about that.
I think if I hadn't just said what I'd said about Cancelo, then I think that would apply. I think if this was a different player of Cancelo's stature in a different position where we weren't starting to find problems, then I think maybe a bit more of that would apply. You know, if he'd had a big falling out with De Bruyne, I don't know if De Bruyne is just on a plane the next day. He might be, you know, because Pep really does live and die by that rule, which is fair enough, and I respect that. But I honestly believe that the City kind of staff have identified that there's an issue going on with that left side of defence. We look unbalanced defensively. We look totally different when Ake's playing left back. And the funny thing is, it's not like we've lost any kind of attacking impetus. Like Ake scored against Arsenal. Okay, he's not firing Travellas into the box and stuff, but Ake is ultimately a centre back that was playing at left back, and he was still having an attacking influence. You know, when Zinchenko used to come off the bench for Cancelo, you could feel the difference. It wasn't Cancelo anymore. Certain stuff was off the table. Certain things just weren't going to happen. They weren't going to be mad outside of the boot, 40-yard balls, picking man out at the back post. But we were still getting chances down that side of the pitch. And what wasn't happening, and what isn't happening when Ake is playing left back, and what isn't happening when Rico Lewis is playing, and we've got that kind of back four shifted into a slightly more balanced than traditional back four, is we're not getting exposed on the break in the same way. Not as badly anyway. We're still getting exposed a little bit down the middle on the break, which is why I think that if it's true what one of the comments said about City being interested in Caicedo, I wouldn't be surprised. And I think that could be a great move. Someone with a bit more pace, a bit more legs to go and join Rodri in the middle and just really free up all the people in front of them. But I think Pep thinks, look, one, we can, if Cancelo goes, we try bring someone in tomorrow. There's talk that they might try bring Chilwell in. Maybe they try bring in a left-footed, more traditional left-back in that position, someone who is a bit more defensive-minded, someone who's a little bit more disciplined positionally, and we try and shore up things a little bit at the back so that we can actually give Arsenal a run for the money, and we're not constantly throwing games away by conceding daft goals or being exposed on the break. And also, I think maybe he just thinks... You know, did you guys hear his post-match interview after the Tottenham game?
Where when he kind of called the fans out and stuff.
For me, I agreed with everything he said, and I've been too caught up in life to jump on a stream myself. But I wanted to get on some fans that were booing or whatever it was at half time. They should have their fucking season tickets revoked. But I absolutely agree with him that there's a passion issue. Do you know what I mean? That the fans have been spoilt so rotten that they're struggling to find the passion, that the players are struggling to find that passion. And sometimes clever managers can take opportunities and things like this and leverage them into like a feeling and a moment, like Ten Hag did with Ronaldo at United. When Ronaldo was still there at the start of the season, I was thinking, yo, he is going to literally ruin Ten Hag's United career. He's going to go up in flames this year. Ten Hag's going to bear the brunt of it, and he's never going to get off the ground. And the first part was right. Yeah, exactly. If he didn't deal with it, yeah.
It would have. He would have.
Yeah,
He
exactly.
would've.
But what happened, and I thought this when you were speaking before, Bilal, because you hit the nail so on the head, is that actually he almost took that and it became the making of him as a manager. He actually almost benefited from having
100,
this bad egg in the squad that he could kind
100.
of galvanize
Make an example of.
around. Exactly. I wouldn't be surprised if Cancelo gets on a plane and then Pep sits down with the guys at training the next day and it's like, right, we can have a real conversation now because there's some real stuff to talk about. Do you know what I mean? And also, how did the players react to Cancelo doing that? Were they all on Cancelo's side, or were they like, did that make them stand up for like, wait a second, what's going on? Looking around.
But you are going to be losing a
you know
quality player though. Like that's
course.
putting the question out the side. He's a quality player. But look, let's move on to another player because it will touch back onto Man City. But
from him going.
But
That's
Patrick, are you scared now that Pedro Porro, who Levy doesn't want to give the extra 2-3 milli for, will go and join Man City, a club that he was at before, because he was at City before? And
it's all been confirmed.
There's been talk.
While we're on the stream, it's been confirmed.
Yeah, it's all been confirmed.
So what has he been? Is he signed?
Yeah, well,
supposedly.
Until you see him holding up the shirt and all of that, you can never be too sure.
Hey, so City might end up doing what you done to Everton.
But as it stands right now, Orny, fucking Fab, Ben Jacobs, they've all come out and said that he's on his way to Tottenham, medical booked, blah, 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 blah. So it's looking like we finally got him. It's only taken a month. Jesus.
Yeah.
So,
what was that? Was there a GoFundMe for them extra few millions or something going on?
Yeah, we tried to raise that 2.6 million, bro. we were chipping in.
How much did you put in there, Patty? How much did you put in?
You put in the 2.6 mil, bro. That's what you did.
It's all a bad thing. That one's to bed. Bilal, I'm going to come to you now. We'll wrap it up shortly now. But Enzo Fernandez to Chelsea. Chelsea are going out there spending close to 600-700 million in the January window. They've absolutely shut the normal status around Januan transfer window where money don't get spent. They've absolutely just blew it out the water. What do you reckon?
These guys are just in a shooting range, just going for anyone at this point. I'd probably say it's the one signing that's finally starting to make some sense, because it seems like all they've done, bar Koulibaly, they've just gone for attackers, thinking it's going to solve their problem. They've got issues all over the field, literally. They need a more permanent replacement for Thiago Silva, in my opinion. He's probably one of the best players in their squad right now, but how much longer is he going to keep going? That's the question you got to ask. Aspilicueta's pretty much done as well. I don't know. It's just this scattergun approach is just madness that they're doing right now. I don't know. Do
you reckon he'll come in though, and he'll give Chelsea that lift to get out of 10th?
No.
Or is it World Cup hype? Sometimes
that's what I was going to ask.
Fernandez best.
I don't think he's that good. I will say that I don't think he's that good. But what I will say is I do think.
I don't think he's 120 good.
No, they're not going to be in 10th position though. Sure.
They won't be 10th. It's not gonna be their spark in their season that's gonna get them going though. I don't think.
No, but
I don't know, but I was just on the stream with Have Hope. Yeah, I want them motherfuckers to get relegated from. I'm not gonna lie, bro. I swear to God.
With Mudryk, Felix, you've got Aubameyang in the reserves now. Obviously, Broja, who's injured. You've also got Sterling coming back, Pulisic coming back. Ziyech is off to PSG currently, and then you've got the midfield of obviously Enzo with a Kovacic, or whatever it is. Reece James will come back. I think they'll be more than good enough to get, Europa League. I think they'll be all right. I think Liverpool are the ones that are spooky right now. But
if you're a Chelsea fan, every time you see on the news about the Ukraine-Russia war, you'd be triggered as hell in it, because they had obviously it is what it is. Abramovich is who he is, but they had a good thing going with Abramovich, and then you realize it when they get some new guy coming in that's throwing money at the problem, but they just don't look like they know what they're doing.
Yeah. Do you think Potter's to blame? Do you think he's out of his depth?
Nah, but I just think that it's all just been too rash, and he was a part of the rashness. He could have maybe decided to turn down the decision, but why would you do that? And he had there was too many guys going with him, and sometimes we forget that. Like when the deal is, you come and 7 of your back backroom staff come with you, and they're all going to get their salaries tripled, and they're all going to go to a club that's X amount bigger, and their career projection, like you're saying no for about 10 man at that point. Do you know what I mean? Like, you know, if Premsy gets an opportunity for something, and they say, right, come over here, and we're taking all of the man them from Premier League Unpacked, and we're putting them all on salary, and we're doing this and doing that, then at that point, obviously he has to do what's best for Premsy TV, but he's also in the back of his mind thinking, well, if I turn this down because I feel like it's not the right time.
Nah, I'm saying, let's go, boys. We made it. We fucking made it.
Do you know what I mean? So even if footballing wise, I think Potter would have been better seeing out the season at Brighton and having a deal with them where it's like, right, I'll come in at the back end of the season. That was never going to work. So I think that's the only bit of blame Potter takes for me. But I think that, yeah, he's not done great kind of in terms of game management and tactically, but he proved to me at Brighton that he's got that in his locker. I just think he's gone into a mad situation, mad amounts of money being spent, bare new players coming in, no chemistry.
This is what I'm saying. Look, this is what has happened. Ten Hag, every United manager, same kind of things. Like, even the players, they look at the situation and they're just like, that is a mess. Like, it's a big club, but is that a mess that I really want to get involved in? Like the United thing, for example, same thing. He must have looked at Chelsea and he thought, that is just a disaster waiting to happen.
It's just a weird strategy to get that type of manager in with this type of like ownership strategy. Like, if you're going to go out and spend bare money and buy big name players, you need like almost like an Ancelotti-esque manager, someone who's like a man manager, someone who knows how to manage lots of big personalities. And like Graham Potter's success came in a way from like, not from this. Do you know what I mean?
He nurtures players, innit?
Yeah, so it just seems weird to take that guy.
But on the flip side, Bish, though, on the flip side, if they allow Potter the time to cook, and he's obviously been backed massively now with all of these signings, and he allows them to bed in, and it could be scary for a long time. So you got to look at it from both ways, because like they've brought in some real good quality. They've got some real good young players coming through. They spent a lot. So if they allow Potter the time, which they know he's a good man manager, they know he's a good project manager, they know he can develop players, and they bring in all these players. That's what I think they're doing. So it looks crazy right now.
If he gets his grips, on that locker room, it's dangerous.
Exactly.
But what happens if he gets sacked and the new manager that comes in don't want any of these players?
I tell you what it is, though. I'll be honest, bro. I'll be honest.
That's what happened when he came in.
No, but my thing is, I don't think that he's not going to be able to work with these players. I think he's a very good manager, and I'll be honest. When you look at the players they've brought in and all the players, yes, they've got like 40 players on their books now. But when you look at what they're actually doing, with like even Badiashile, I think Badiashile's name is. Listen, man, they're doing some good stuff, bro. Like, but if you look at their squad, listen, I think they know exactly what they're doing. It looks a bit gun ho. I think the issue that you've got is, they seem to be kind of just going for any player, but they're going for the best players in the positions where they probably did need. Like, their forward line was horrible. Even though they brought in a bunch of players, they needed more, and they're doing it. Now all they need to do is get maybe a few more fullbacks and a centre mid that can just, even like a Bellingham or someone to bat it up. I think next season, they'll be a lot better, and I think people are really underestimating how well they've fought.
I think it's more of a transitional season right now for them.
Yeah, no, I'm talking next season. I was talking.
Yeah, I'm saying right now is more of a transitional season for them, and they're just
this season's a write-off. This season's a write-off.
Oh yeah,
this is why they're spending all the money right now, because they're currently in the Champions League and they can offer players, look, we're still in the Champions League, we're in the last 16 and so on, where when it comes to next year, these men ain't going to be in the Champions League. It's going to be hard for them to prize players away that want Champions League football. Obviously, they might look at the project and look at the money and think, yeah, we'll go there. But over the last 10 years, most of the best players, they want to be in a team that's playing in the Champions League. So you can understand why they're probably splashing the cash there now. But people, we're an hour and 20 minutes in. This is the first episode, the launch of FA Cup Unpacked. You get me, people, the new rebranding and all of that. But we will be back with Premier League Unpacked next week. Bilal, I just want to say, sick guest, first ever live stream on a football show. You get me? You held yourself, and you've done really well, bro. I must say that. Good opinions, United fan and all that. Obviously, we look past that. We bypass that. But it'd be good to add a United man to the channel as well, bro. But again, make sure you smash a like on the video, people. Go and check all the Mandem's Instagrams out, all the Twitters out. If you're into cars, make sure you go check Bilal out, because obviously I bet a lot of you man don't know this guy here, DSG Demons, is one of the biggest geezers on Instagram when it comes to cars. So make sure you go and check his platform out as well. You get me? So I'm telling you, I went there. He gave me a hookup, brought me in a plasma screen in my car last week.
Just put it up today. I've just put it on the socials today.
You know what I mean? It's a mad thing.
What's your Insta?
If the link's in the description, bro, go and subscribe to everyone's channel.
Say it out loud. Say it out loud.
So that people that are watching
DSG Demons.
Cool,
DSG
wicked.
Demons.
Nice.
Yo,
nice.
Pat.
I'll drop you.
Pepsi
Wait,
Go on. Go
I'll
on,
follow
brother.
you
Go
all
on,
now.
Yeah.
I'll follow you all now then.
Yeah, wicked.
That's
Yeah,
fine.
do that.
Yo, Premsy tried to sign out the channel, but I just wanted to say, see how that man was talking about every Chelsea signing, but didn't want to say Modric's name.
I said Mudrik. I said Mudrik. No.
Don't get no airtime on this platform. Fuck him right
Oh,
up,
my
mate.
bad, Gibbs. My bad.
I did say
Fuck him
it
right
back.
up. Nah.
I
I
take
don't
it
take.
back.
Listen, you
I'm
just
not
stop
bitter,
it,
bro.
dude.
I'm actually not bitter about it.
thought he was
I am.
getting
You
the
know
tears
why?
bottles
Because my man has pissed me off. I'm not gonna lie. You get me? I wanted the guy. You get me? So it's a kick in the dick, and I'm not happy with it. I'm not happy with it. So this guy's not getting no airtime.
I can say one thing, yeah. This guy Patrick, yeah. This guy, you know
What
why
is
he's
that?
annoying?
Man
why
went
he's
for
annoying?
Patrick, you know. He said, nah, let me loud Bish, because he might bring up the FA Cup game again.
We slapped them twice. They're fifth. They're gonna get knocked out the Champions League. They ain't winning the Prem. They ain't winning nothing. They won nothing
Here we
since
go.
2008. And all of a sudden, this guy's like Jorginho. After Pedro Porro, you ain't even gonna get him till like 5 minutes ago. Man, beating at your chest.
What have I said about? I haven't said nothing about Jorginho. What did I say?
You're
about
like, oh
Jorginho?
yeah, we're getting Jorginho. We're getting Jorginho.
Yeah, that is. But that was bad,
guy, bro.
still.
We really hold on. We beat you. We beat you twice without him, bro. Don't worry
Listen,
about that. Don't worry
just
about
win the league. Seeing as though you're talking, I wasn't even saying nothing about Arsenal.
Nah, look, he's keeping it humble. He's got no Tottenham merch on today. He's keeping it humble. He's keeping it humble.
I'm chilling. You're not going to draw me out
Watch
today.
Conte go and win the FA Cup and
Yeah, let's
Arsenal
go.
slip in the league, and now it's like
Listen, no bad energy. I'm gonna cut
In
the
the blood
stream.
of
Yeah.
Jesus.
No bad energy.
Let's
Yeah.
go.
We're winning this fucking league. But yo, people, like I said, make sure you
Yeah.
smash a like on the video, subscribe
Yeah.
if you're new. Go in the bio and go and support all the
Yes.
man them. Honestly, because
jump on your girl's phone and subscribe.
jump on your fucking dog's phone and subscribe. You get
Easy, I'm
me?
cool.
In this day and age, you know what man are on.
Listen.
But look,
Yeah.
peace and love, and we'll see you on Monday, 8 p.m. for Premier League Unpacked next week, people.
Peace.
City.